The average person spends an average of 270 minutes just scrolling every single day. To put that number into perspective, let's take a look at the average remaining lifespan, which looks like this. This is your life. And this is the amount of time an average human will spend on their phone throughout their life. That is more than 11 years. More than a decade is a long time to do something that is not only unfulfilling, but oftentimes leaves us feeling worse than if we just didn't do it. So many of us default to scrolling in every single moment when we are not doing something else. And sometimes also when we should be doing something else. This is not okay. In the time we spend on our phone, we could learn a new skill, build a side hustle, finally start working out, or just spend some quality time with friends and family, building connections and making memories. But we don't, because we are scrolling. So how do we stop? How do we improve the quality of our life and stop wasting so much valuable time? In this video, I will share the 11 changes that I made to lower my screen time from 4 to 5 hours, sometimes even more, to less than 1. While that may sound impossible and a bit restrictive, I promise you it is not. You'll still get to enjoy your phone time, and all of these changes can be easily implemented into your day-to-day life. But first, we need to understand why scrolling is so addictive. Actually, can it even be called an addiction? Research shows that our brains get easily addicted to our phones for one simple reason: dopamine. But what is dopamine? Dopamine is a neurotransmitter that gets released after we do something enjoyable, like spending time with friends, eating our favorite food, and working out. The problem is, this can be addicting, because our brain will start craving the feeling of enjoyment that is also associated with the release of dopamine. Simply put, our brain likes the feeling of being entertained by cat videos or whatever you're watching online. And so it associates scrolling with enjoyment and pleasure. Therefore, an addiction can form because we crave feeling good and we want more of it. So we pick up our phone and start scrolling in the hope of feeling good again. If you use your phone to distract yourself from negative feelings like loneliness or stress, it is important to remember that you are not alone. Everyone does that. Many people turn to their phone when they're feeling down because it is a quick escape. However, constantly seeking that dopamine hit from our phone can actually make you feel worse in the long run, because it doesn't address the root of the problem. So if you relate to that, a good place to start is to think about why you scroll in the first place. Now, let's talk about some practical tips. If the majority of your screen time is using social media, which honestly it probably is, I don't know anyone who spends like 4 hours changing their settings. Anyway, if that's the case, I mean, there is a kind of simple solution, which is to just quit social media, which honestly I'm not a big fan of. I think social media has its good sides. It allows us to get inspired, to connect with people we know and also to people we don't know yet. It allows us to share memes and funny stuff and serious stuff with our friends. I cannot deny that it has its positive aspects. So if you don't want to just quit cold turkey, there honestly is a really underrated solution, which is to increase friction. Simply put, make it harder for you to scroll unintentionally. There are different apps and extensions you can use for this. You can also set time limits within certain apps, certain social media apps. But one of the simplest and most underrated ways to do this is to just log out. When you need to get in the next time, it will take you a few extra seconds to log back in. In that time, you actually have time to decide if you really want to scroll. You can always log back in when you want to text someone. You can always log back in when you just want to scroll, but you will do it more intentionally. One of the most annoying things, in my opinion, about social media are the notifications. It got to a point for me where I would get so many notifications on a daily basis that I would actually miss important messages and emails that I should have replied to. There was just so much information coming at me whenever I would open my phone that I just could not be bothered to even look at all the notifications. The solution for this is simple. Disable notifications, like actually do it. Actually go into your settings right now. Do it right now. I'm waiting. Just do it now. Disable notifications for apps where you do not need to receive notifications from, and also apps on which no one will contact you if it's urgent. Email notifications are certainly helpful, same goes for messaging apps. But do you really need notifications for Facebook or TikTok? I don't know one person that would contact me through TikTok if they desperately needed something from me. If you really want to go hard, you can just disable all notifications. A good idea if you just want to lower the chances of going onto apps for the sake of going onto apps because you have nothing better to do is to practice some digital minimalism. Declutter your phone. Clean up apps that you do not need. Unsubscribe from random newsletters that you subscribed to 5 years ago. And also unfollow people that you do not want to see on your feed. If we're gonna use social media, let's use it mindfully and let's use it to help our life and not to make it worse. There are people that if I see them on my feed, I am instantly motivated because they just give off good vibes. They are positive, they're inspiring, they're motivating, and I love seeing them on my feed. I also post content on TikTok and Instagram. Follow me on there, by the way. What are you doing if you're not following me? Yeah, that's a shameless plug for a video about not using social media, but well. I'm also the type of person that creates videos to put onto the internet, and I generally try to make those videos in a way where people will spend their time watching that, but they will feel hopefully better after watching that and not worse. If you're enjoying this video, make sure to subscribe because I post a lot of other videos similar to this one. A few years ago, I was studying with this girl who just had the most insane schedule. She was studying with me, but also doing medicine. She was doing so many exams, also had time for the gym, would also always bring her own home-cooked food, like cooked by herself, when we were studying together. It was insane, it was so inspiring, and I asked her how she did it all. And her answer was basically just being organized and knowing your priorities and all of that. But she also mentioned that she barely scrolls. She would barely use social media, not necessarily because she told herself to not use social media, but because she had so many other things going on in her life and social media was not a priority. What I'm trying to say by this is get a life. You do not need to study 2 degrees at once or to study medicine or any of that, but get a hobby. Spend more time doing the things you actually enjoy. Get out there and make some memories. Live your life to the fullest. Try new things. Get uncomfortable. Just do things with your life. Life is so beautiful. And no, I'm not talking about the aesthetic Instagram videos. Life is beautiful and it is lived outside of a screen. I used to literally scroll until the second I would fall asleep. Also, I used to get up, grab my phone, start scrolling, and then would start my day sometime after that. But now I've made it a habit to not scroll while I'm in bed. Doesn't matter if it's morning or evening, there's no scrolling in bed. Yes, it can be difficult, and this is definitely a habit that requires a bit more discipline, but you can absolutely do it. And it's really not that bad. It actually makes both my morning routine and my evening routine way more enjoyable. In the morning, instead of scrolling, I wake up, I journal, I read, and then I just get right to doing my stuff. I go work out, I go to work, I go to university, I go wherever I need to go. But I don't lay in my bed for hours just scrolling. And in the evening, now I finally have time to read. If you just cannot seem to not scroll when you have your phone next to you, then just don't leave your phone next to you when you're going to sleep. But yeah, here we might have a little issue, which is waking up. How do you wake up without an alarm clock? You use an actual alarm clock. These things are fun, honestly. This is fun. Just get an alarm clock that is not your phone. This thing was like €5 from IKEA. I don't know if you can see it. It has different colors. One of the best purchases, honestly. Also, there's no snooze button on this. So if you're also trying to get up earlier, it's a win-win. Minimize distractions. Put your phone on silent. Turn on Do Not Disturb, or even better, there are modes for iPhones where you can set, for instance, study time. You can, for instance, allow calls from certain people, but block all the other notifications that you absolutely do not need to see while you're studying. And you know, if that doesn't work, then just Get rid of your phone. Put it somewhere, give it to someone, put it in another room. You'll be okay without your phone for a little bit. A lot of times we are more productive in 2 hours of focused work than in 6 or even 8 hours of constantly opening our messages, checking DMs, posting something, looking at memes, and basically letting our phone have control over us and our day and everything we need to get done that day. Focus sessions. I will admit the primary idea behind focus sessions is not to scroll less, but actually to be more productive and get more things done in less amount of time. But after trying these focus sessions in my daily life, I noticed that a very good byproduct of them was that I was just scrolling way less. The idea is very simple. You create your ideal environment to be really focused. For me, that's putting on some lo-fi music, some classical music in my noise cancelling headphones because I am very sensitive to noises and they distract me really easily. I will clean out my desk because I feel like visual clutter, even if it's just on the side, can also impact your productivity. I will grab some water, grab some coffee, some snacks if I need to, and then it's time to get to work. And the idea is that you only focus on one thing at a time. What works amazing with this is also using Pomodoro timers, so basically where you focus for 25 minutes, then you get a break, or you focus for 50 minutes and then you get a break. I will sometimes do that. Also, sometimes I do not use a timer because I just want to allow myself to get into a flow. A flow is basically this state where working towards something just becomes effortless. The initial resistance is gone. You have worked on the task for a while, you are not distracted, and so it just becomes easy. You are in a flow. In that state of flow, the last thing you'll think about is wanting to scroll. I feel like this is a really common habit. Stopping this habit also helps you decrease your screen time by so much. Do not watch TV while scrolling on your phone. This will help you lower your screen time because instead of looking at 2 screens, you're only looking at one. That's already something. And you also use one of those screens way more mindfully. You actually pay attention to what's happening. This habit was absolutely horrible for my attention span, for my focus, also for my mindfulness, for just being present. I feel like it really messes with your brain and it's just not worth it. Let's be honest, if we're scrolling on our phone while watching a TV show, maybe that show isn't that great. I have to wake up early tomorrow, now I'm getting ready for bed. What I always do before even laying in bed is I put my phone on Do Not Disturb. There's also sleep mode, but honestly, I'm good with Do Not Disturb. Then I just get ready for bed, I lay in bed and I read until I fall asleep. This has improved my quality of sleep so much. I feel way more calm and relaxed before going to sleep, and I also don't just lay in bed and overthink stuff. I used to be the type of person who would have troubles falling asleep, not because I wasn't tired, but because I was tired but still overthinking stuff, worrying about stuff, about the next day, about things that happened, and putting away my phone and just reading something until I just feel tired and feel like I want to go to sleep has helped immensely. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching and I'll see you in my next video. Bye bye. Now you know how to scroll less. If you also want to know some scientifically proven hacks to wake up earlier, click on this video.